Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anne at Martin House Flowers. I garden in Zone 5B in Northern Illinois. And today I wanted to talk about the types of pots that I have used over the last couple of seasons and what pots I'm using and what methods I'm using today. And that would include using your standard pots that you buy from big box stores to Amazon, some free pots that you might find around the house, some winter sowing methods that we talked about in one of my last videos. And then today, my investment, I call them my investment pots, which are from Bootstrap Farmer. So I just wanted to do a little unboxing and a little review of the different methods that I've used over the last few seasons and share with you my opinions on how they've worked out, and maybe it would help you out if you're a new seed starter. And so let's just get to it. And I hope if you enjoy this video that you like, share, and subscribe. Subscribing is free, so it helps me grow my channel, and I appreciate you being here today. I think it's worth talking about the free tools that you might have around your kitchen that could be helpful in seed starting. And I definitely still use some of these free methods that are, kicking around the kitchen. This one here is one of those recyclable plastic containers that I get my mushrooms in. We eat a lot of mushrooms here, so I could certainly be saving more of these. I would say that I have grown something like nasturtiums and any seeds that I want to just sort of broadcast. You could sort of isolate maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groupings of seeds and then cut away into them. It is fairly deep. It's about 2 inches. So I will continue to collect these and use them. I do poke a couple holes, maybe 3 or 4 holes underneath, and then set them into a tray that doesn't have drainage holes, and then you can water them from below like you do other pots, or you can spray them on top. So again, something that requires maybe a 2-inch root is good. You could even start tomatoes, a number of things in here. I might even start yarrow in here. So I'll have a look at what my seeds are that I will definitely continue to collect these. So I encourage you to do that. I don't have a sample here, but last year or the year before, I think it was in 2023, when I first started growing seeds here at this property, I bought one of those large trays, I think from Walmart, and it came with the little peat pods, little discs, and a humidity dome. I did buy one of those, and I think they were, about around $20 or a little bit less. Picked it up at a big box store, sowed some peppers in there, and I would say that I would not recommend those. They were so lightweight. They blew off my potting bench really quickly. The peat pods just didn't work for me. And I really didn't get any germination. So I wouldn't recommend those. I know some growers or some home gardeners do use them and have had success with them. I just personally didn't like using that method. So last year, the most affordable purchase that I made was for these types of trays. It holds about 24 of I think these are 3-inch pots. I picked these up at Amazon. And I think the set of, I'll have to put down on the screen how many it worked out to, but they probably worked out to about 30 cents a piece, something like that. And I'm still using these little pots. They're 3 inches by about 2.5 inches. And I use these for things like, I did grow some basil in here. And I did move a lot of my snapdragons from the 24 cell trays into these when I was thinning them out. I didn't want to, cut those snapdragons, kill off some of those extra seedlings. I just dropped them in here. I was just washing these earlier today, and I did notice a couple of them started to crack. So they're only a year old. So I'd have to say they're not the most durable. And this tray here, that's a smaller tray that I use to cover some of my trays, my pansies and my sweet peas that need darkness to germinate. I'm using them as a lid. It's a Mr. Penn um, tray, and as you can see here, it's already cracked, and it's barely been a year. They've survived one season, and so not recommend these trays. This is a standard 1020 tray that I'm pretty sure I ordered from Johnny's Seed. Johnny's Seed, as you may know, is one of the best resources for varieties of different seeds and supplies. I picked up these 1020 trays at pretty reasonable. I would say that they're not the most sturdy, but so far nothing has cracked in these 1020 trays, and it is a universal tray. With these 3-inch pots, I can fit 28 of these, and it depends on the size of your seed starting pots. But you can certainly fit your 6-cell, your 4-cell trays, and there are those 72-cell trays that you can pop into these standard 1020s. When I bought these 1020 trays, I believe they came with um, this sort of grid tray. So this sits directly inside. I've just watched one of the home gardeners that I follow, Crane, say that he doesn't find these necessary. And I would tend to agree, but I think they must have come together as a two-piece set, and I use them for actually setting in my soil blocks. So that leads me to the soil blocking method, and I use this 4-block uh, 2-inch soil blocker, and I believe I picked this one up at either at Gardener Supply, or Johnny's. Probably at Johnny's, because I was trying to hit their minimum order of $200 to get free shipping. So I actually do my soil blocks in here, and then I can fill up the tray at the bottom, and then my soil blocks stay secure in this netting. And again, some people just put their soil blocks directly in here, but I actually set them in this tray. So with soil blocks, I'm going to go back to that. I'm actually going to demonstrate using this soil block, because I do plan to use my soil blocking for sowing my yarrow. Last year, I did use it for growing zinnias, a number of different flowers. And I just found it to be a really great method, because the way soil blocking works is that you're creating an actual block of soil, and there are no barriers like a plastic pot around it. And what happens is that your roots are healthier, and they don't ever get root bound like they might do in a pot. There's a What actually happens is, when the roots max out to the edge of the soil block, and in this case a 2-inch, air pruning occurs. And what that means is the air actually naturally prunes the roots, and so the roots stop growing, and then more roots actually will tend to grow, and then you end up with healthier, thicker roots. And because of this 2-inch size, I find it to be a perfect size to go directly from the block seedling directly into my garden beds. And there are 2 other sizes. There's a 3/4-inch soil blocker that some people use, because then they can get more seeds per square inch in their trays or in their greenhouse or under their grow lights. And but they're only a 3/4 inch, and you typically would have to up pot that and move it from a 3/4 inch into a block or into another pot. And I don't like to pot up things if I don't have to. And if I can avoid that at all costs, then I will certainly, start with something like a 2-inch. And as you saw last year, I did a lot in these 3-inch pots, and I find sometimes like a 72-cell tray that I don't have here because I've never used them. I don't like really small cells, because again, you have to pot them up. But to each his own. Many growers use that when you're doing a lot of crops, a lot of seeds. Then of course, the smaller seed trays will max out your number of total seeds that you have available to grow. So let me move on to, because we will do the soil blocking in a minute, to the unboxing of my Bootstrap Farmer order. I think many of us have seen Bootstrap Farmer with these colorful pots, and there are a number of sizes and options on bootstrapfarmer.com. Last year, I looked into it because I saw several YouTubers, gardeners using them, and I went online to Bootstrap Farmer. And to be honest, I was a little overwhelmed at the cost and the number of pots that you had to invest in. Oftentimes, like this 2.5 inch comes in, I believe it's an 80 pack, and you're having to decide on multiple packs. And if you're just starting out, it's a great method if you're ready to make the investment. For me, I was not sure of how much seed starting I was going to do. I knew I had six to, I guess I have technically 8 raised beds out there, but I was planning to do some direct sowing. I was going to do some soil blocking, which of course soil blocking reduces the number of pots you need, but I just wasn't ready to make the investment. But in hindsight, I wish I had, and had avoided buying some of these more inexpensive pots from Amazon and these plastic trays that just don't last. They just crack very easily. Many of us are concerned about the environment and the plastics that we're putting into the landfill. And if you are having to use plastic, like many of us have to, at least use plastic that is going to last and will be sustainable, because you're going to use them for many years. Many of these plastics that are inexpensive that you buy on Amazon may look attractive because of their pricing, and you can't really tell when you're buying them online, but you certainly, when you receive them, you can feel how thin they are, how thin the plastic is, and certainly in the following year you're going to find that they're already cracked and almost disposable in some cases, much like the ones that you receive when you buy, your annuals in little 6 cells or 4 cells. A lot of times you can reuse some of those, and I have reused some of them, but nevertheless, a lot of them end up becoming, used for one growing season, and then they're disposable, essentially. So I did try the 4 cell and the 6 cell trays from Bootstrap Farmer in black. And you've seen them in previous videos where I sowed my pansies, and I think some of my tomatoes last year. I used some of the 4-inch pots. There's quite a variety of different size pots. But for me, I decided that I wanted to invest this time around in these 2.5-inch pots. So these are 2.5-inch in width. In comparison, let's just take one of these. This is a 3-inch. They say it's a 3-inch, but really it's quite similar. These are advertised as a 3-inch, but as you can see here, pretty darn close in depth. I would say these are actually a 2.5-inch, but you're getting a deeper pot here with the Bootstrap Farmer. So you're going to have, more developed roots, obviously, with a deeper pot. And if you look at the thickness, if I try to squeeze, you can see how these are very bendable, and these barely bend. And I've seen on their website how they've stepped on these or thrown them on the ground and they haven't broken. I'm not going to do that today because I have too many things in my greenhouse, but you can look that up. So I'm super thrilled with these 2.5-inch, and I think I made the right decision in choosing this size, because I find that 4 cell trays and the 6 cell trays in particular are really small in diameter, and I like to use those, and I have a few of them. I did want to say that if you want to just give them a try, they do have the 4 cell and the 6 cell trays of Bootstrap Farmer in the basic black on Mi Gardener. Amazon sells some, but they're like bundle kits, and I think there's in this $80 range. On MI Gardener, you can invest in much lower priced sets where I think you can get a 4 pack of 4 cell tray and a 6 pack of 6 cell or something in that range, and they're definitely affordable to try that way. But you do have to pay shipping on MI Gardener, and because obviously they're getting it from another supplier. Uh, I think I mentioned previously that MI Gardener will give you offer free shipping on $20 worth of seeds, but that does not include the Bootstrap farmer supplies, as I found out recently. So for this season, I'm definitely going to try to make do with my 80 pack of pots. So I think there's 40 in here. I got myself a new sprayer, a 2 liter, 4.5 pint pressure sprayer that I'm excited to test out and use. I think to hit the minimum, I did throw these into my shopping cart, and I think these were $5 for 100 pack of labels. I do like the colorful option, and there's other promotions they have. Like I think they have like veterans colorways. Let's move that. There we go. So this configuration of pots and the trays cost me around, I believe it was around $80, and I was able to get free shipping. So in my packing slip, I got 100 packs of plant labels, my 2 liter sprayer in orange, a blue mesh, that's what they're called, blue mesh tray, because I thought I do want to try one for soil blocking. And I did 3 trays, these 10-20 trays. I do want to compare the Bootstrap Farmer mesh tray with these standard ones. It is a standard size, but you're getting a much larger mesh. Mesh is quite a bit wider, and the thickness, these are definitely more flexible, but they're a pretty heavy duty plastic. They're very bendable as compared to these that aren't, they're flexible, but they're definitely more solid, as you can tell. Hopefully you can tell. The 10-20 tray, which I just rinsed out and washed, is significantly thicker. Let's just show you how this totally flex. And hopefully I'm not going to crack these, because I do use these. And I only have 3 of these, but you can see here there is a flex factor, but definitely much thicker. So I'm really loving how thick these are, and I believe these have a 1-year warranty, but I can be comfortable in saying that these are going to last me many years. I could probably pass them down to the next generation. So let's just set these in here. What I like about the colorful pots and trays is that you can separate your seedlings by color and basically not have to use as many plant labels or seedling labels, because, for example, if I'm doing Bells of Ireland, I would probably grow them in these green pots because Bells of Ireland are green. Or if I was doing basil, I might do green, or any flower, but know that all of my green pots are going to hold one type of seedling. So I've got 4, 8, 12, 16, and obviously it fits 32 in here. So there you go. I'm really excited about using these new Bootstrap farmer pots. I had planned to use these for snapdragons. Last year, I grew my snapdragons in my 24 cell trays from Gardener Supply, and I still love those trays. I ended up using all 4 of my 24 cell trays from Gardener Supply for my pansies. So they're occupied at the moment. And in another week or so, I will be starting my snapdragons. So stay tuned for that video, and I'll be using my new pots. Let's just switch these. I mean, you can obviously, I picked these colors because they were my blue, green, and orange are my favorites. So you can put your orange or any colorway that you want to put in here. So you get the idea. So because I have 80 pots, I essentially needed 3 trays, I believe. So there's my second tray with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 4. So that fits 32 pots per 10-20 tray. So I remember doing the calculation, and these 2.5-inch pots fit, you need 2.5 trays. So because I have some 4-cell Bootstrap farmers and I have these other colorful ones, I can certainly put these in here as well. So you get 16 of each color, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors. So that makes up the 80 pots in this configuration. So I invite you to go on to Bootstrap Farmer. I'm not sponsored by them by any means. I just want to advocate for good quality pots. And I also wanted to say there are other pots on the market from Vigo and Epic Gardener. They have some 6-cell and 8-cell tray configurations, I believe. I did end up doing the math on the Bootstrap Farmer trays and found them to actually be quite affordable in comparison to the other ones. These work out to under 50 cents a piece. I thought, in comparison to these that are a little more inexpensive, but definitely not even comparable in the quality as I mentioned. Some of them have already cracked, and I love the depth and the thickness of these plastics, and look forward to having spent the money this year, not having to buy many more in future seasons. Hopefully this season I'm done buying supplies, because the rest of as I rotate through and plant out my cool season flowers, I can reuse, obviously wash my other trays, my 24 cell trays from Gardener Supply, and also my 4-cell and 6-cell trays from Bootstrap. And then of course I'll be doing my soil blocking, which does not require the use of any pots. You just need your trays. So let's move on to the soil blocking. So before I go on to soil blocking, I wanted to do a comparison test between the Bootstrap Farmer 2 liter pressure sprayer. I did already pump it a few times when I was out there, but and I filled it with water. But I hope you can see this. I'm gonna just let it run its course and then I'll pump it again. So it doesn't require very many pumps to get the spraying going. So far, so good. Really loving this. And this one I've had to open. As you can see, it's not working anymore. In fairness, the water did freeze in here in the greenhouse, and it might have messed with the mechanism, but anyway, not even a comparison. I've had this for a few months and it literally stopped working within a few weeks. And I think it worked for a little while, but then it started dripping and I never got a spray out of it. I just got a steady stream. So it's completely useless to me now. So what I'm going to do is use the water. So the consistency that you want in your soil, whether you're using seed starting mix, which I did last year, use seed starting mix, but in future, because this is the last of my seed starting mix that I have on hand, I bought some Pro Mix, so I'll be using Pro Mix from now on. So you want it to be fairly compact. Um, you can squeeze a little bit of water out there, but we can certainly test to see whether or not this is. The best thing is to really test it out. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of options for soil blockers. You can buy them anywhere from Amazon to Johnny's to MI Gardner. They're available everywhere, and they range around a $30 range. So you're basically going to fill your soil blocker with the soil. Any excess moisture is going to ooze out at the top here, like you can see. So you don't have to worry if it's not moist enough. And you can use your hand or trowel to scrape it off. And then you're just going to use your tray, press down and hold on up here, lift it up. And there you have your soil block. And you have this perfect little square brownie. These could be a little more moist because this one here is a little bit cracked. As you can see, it's falling apart. I would throw that back in there. I'm just using my sprayer because it's handy. Usually I have my juice jug of water that I just pour in here. I think that's better. So you're just going to drop that in there. Sometimes one of them doesn't pick up the soil. So you just drag it across again, scrape off any excess. Sometimes I just sort of push in here, make sure there's no air pockets. Drop it in the tray, press down, and there you go. I think that's much better. There's your block. There you go. According to the package, prefers full sun, tolerates some shade, surface sow indoors 8 to 12 weeks before your last spring frost. And you keep it moist but not soggy, grow plants until large enough to transplant. So as I mentioned, because these are a perfect size, it's a 2-inch soil block. Once these start germinating and growing to a height that is suitable for setting outside, after I've actually harden them off, I will set these blocks directly into the ground, as I did last year with my my stock and my zinnias. So there's the seeds. And I'm just going to, I don't have a toothpick here on me, but I can use my tag here. And I'm going to set about 2 or 3 seeds on the surface. These are new seeds from Sell by 12/24 last year. So I did buy them middle of the year last year. So if they were 2025 seeds, I would just probably do 1 or 2. But because they were last year's, I'm going to go ahead and do three seeds. And if you saw my other video, I did winter sow my yarrow quite generously in my milk jugs. So we're going to be able to see what method worked out best for growing yarrow, whether it's the soil block method or winter sowing in milk jugs. I hope you found this video helpful as we talked about the different seed starting pots, as well as my new Bootstrap Farmer pots that I'm excited to be using over the next few weeks, and of course the soil blocking. I hope you found that as satisfying and fun as I did. This was my first soil blocking of the season. I enjoyed doing soil blocking so much last year that I thought, you know, I don't really need as many pots as I thought I would by doing more soil blocking. But of course, there are always some seedlings or flowers or vegetables or herbs that do prefer to be grown in pots, like tomatoes. I don't think are very suitable for soil blocking. So it's not the be all end all for every seedling, but it certainly is very effective for a lot of flower seeds that you might be growing this season. So thank you again for joining me, and I hope that I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.